50,000 times a second, inside a vacuum chamber in Veldhoven, Netherlands, a high-power carbon dioxide laser strikes a microscopic droplet of molten tin. The resulting plasma explosion generates extreme ultraviolet light at a wavelength of exactly 13.5 nanometers. This violent, highly controlled physics experiment is happening inside an ASML lithography machine, the most complex piece of commercial equipment ever built. Without these machines, the modern digital economy stops. Apple's M-series chips, NVIDIA's H100 GPUs, none of them exist without ASML's monopoly on extreme ultraviolet, or EUV, technology. To understand ASML's absolute monopoly, you have to understand the sheer absurdity of manipulating 13.5 nanometer light. EUV light is absorbed by almost everything, including air. You cannot use glass lenses to focus it. Instead, ASML uses a series of mirrors manufactured by Carl Zeiss in Germany. These aren't normal mirrors. They are coated with alternating layers of molybdenum and silicon, exactly a few atoms thick. They are polished so perfectly flat that if you expanded one of these mirrors to the size of Germany, the highest imperfection would be less than a millimeter tall. And the physical scale of the machine executing this atomic precision is staggering. The current flagship, the TwinScan NXE 3600D, weighs 180 metric tons. It contains over 100,000 parts, 3,000 cables, and 40,000 individual bolts. When ASML ships one of these $200 million systems to a TSMC fabrication plant in Taiwan, it requires 40 massive freight containers and 3 separate Boeing 747 cargo flights. There is no alternative supplier. Nikon and Canon dominate older, deep ultraviolet lithography, but they entirely abandoned the race for EUV. It is remarkable considering ASML's origins. In 2012, they were a struggling joint venture between Philips and ASM International, operating out of a leaky shed next to a Philips office building in Eindhoven. They nearly went bankrupt multiple times in the 1980s and 90s. The development of EUV alone took 30 years of relentless research and development, funded heavily by their own customers. In 2012, Intel, Samsung, and TSMC collectively invested billions directly into ASML just to ensure EUV research continued. That absolute reliance has turned ASML into the ultimate geopolitical choke point. Because ASML is the sole gatekeeper of advanced chipmaking, the United States government has aggressively pressured the Netherlands to restrict ASML's exports. First, the 2019 ban blocked the export of any EUV machines to Chinese foundries like SMIC. Recently, those restrictions expanded to cover older deep ultraviolet, or DUV, immersion systems. Washington understands that whoever controls the lithography machines controls the future of artificial intelligence, advanced military targeting systems, and quantum computing. Despite these geopolitical headwinds, ASML is already deploying its next generation of physics-breaking technology. It is called High NA, or High Numerical Aperture EUV. The newest machine, the EXE 5000, features a 0.55 numerical aperture optical system, allowing foundries to print features as small as 8 nanometers in pitch. The machine costs roughly $350 million. The Zeiss lenses are so large that ASML had to completely redesign the machine's architecture, splitting the projection optics into an anamorphic system with different magnifications in the X and Y axes. But High NA also highlights ASML's unique business model. They are less a traditional manufacturer and more an apex systems integrator. ASML relies on a network of nearly 5,000 specialized suppliers. The lasers come from Trumpf in Germany and Cymer in San Diego. The mechatronic modules come from VDL Group. The optics, as Bram mentioned, are exclusively Zeiss. ASML orchestrates this incredibly complex global symphony. If a single specialized supplier in Germany or Japan experiences a disruption, the entire advanced semiconductor pipeline halts. The ecosystem is as fragile as it is extraordinary. 3 takeaways from our analysis of ASML. First, the precision defies human comprehension, utilizing perfectly flat molybdenum silicon mirrors to manipulate 13.5 nanometer light in a vacuum. Second, their monopoly is absolute, with a 100% market share in EUV systems that cost upwards of $200 million. Finally, this technological dominance has transformed a Dutch systems integrator into a critical geopolitical weapon, dictating the balance of power in artificial intelligence and advanced computing.